The decision that changed everything wasn't getting funding or launching fast. It was choosing to center the product around one painful, expensive problem users already hated, and then betting that a strong founding team could survive every mistake along the way. This story was shared on Reddit by the user SupBrew1, created on February 5th, 2026, and it tells how a startup called Latchkey went from a casual conversation to funding and an open beta launch in just 5 months, driven by one clear product decision and relentless execution. The journey began in August 2025 during a party at a cabin. In the middle of casual conversations, two people who barely knew each other started talking about building software. One of them was already working on an MVP for an analytics tool designed to visualize metrics for GitHub repositories, workflows, and builds. The core problem was obvious to anyone who had worked with GitHub at scale. Its analytics around build usage and cost were weak, fragmented, and difficult to act on. The proposed solution was an intelligence layer that sat between GitHub and its users, mainly software developers and DevOps engineers, translating raw data into usable insights. About a week later, the MVP mockups were shared. The dashboards looked clean and functional, but one tab stood out. Behind the analytics was an optimization feature that ran build workflows through an AI endpoint and returned recommendations. That feature immediately reframed the entire product. The dashboards were useful, but optimization was the real painkiller. Saving time, reducing costs, and improving performance mattered far more to users than simply visualizing numbers. That insight shifted everything. The product was no longer just about visibility, it was about action. Builds needed to run faster. Costs needed to go down. Reliability and security couldn't be optional. After a long back and forth refining the concept, the question came up naturally, joining forces as co-founders. A third person soon joined. Expectations were aligned, and the team committed to moving fast. The platform was rebuilt around AI agents focused on 5 areas: performance, cost, reliability, security, and fixing failed workflows. Branding work was outsourced cheaply using Fiverr, covering the logo, brand book, landing page, and dashboard design, while all core development stayed in-house. Throughout September, the entire team worked nearly non-stop, balancing full-time jobs while building the landing page, front-end dashboards, and the AI optimization backend. The target was clear, an open beta launch by January 2026. While building, the team applied to Founders University, a pre-accelerator focused on helping pre-revenue startups launch and scale. Weekly workshops covered everything from incorporation and finances to customer acquisition and scaling. After 10 weeks, Latchkey was pitched in a competition. Confidence was low. Other teams already had customers and revenue, while Latchkey was still pre-launch. A few days later, an early morning message triggered a rushed call. The Founders University investment team wanted one final due diligence session and asked for a live demo. What followed was every founder's nightmare. The onboarding flow broke in production. A late-night refactor had introduced untested edge cases. Panic set in. A local version failed to load cleanly. The demo collapsed in real time. It felt like the opportunity was gone. Instead, the opposite happened. Despite the failed demo, the investors decided to move forward with funding. The deal was $25,000 in convertible notes at a future $1 million valuation. The realization came fast and stuck permanently. At the earliest stages, investors rarely bet on the product. They bet on the founders. The team had strong technical backgrounds, prior experience at major tech companies, and clear chemistry under pressure, even when things went wrong. The following weeks were spent learning incorporation, investment terms, and legal basics from scratch. Stripe Atlas was used to incorporate, the paperwork was signed, and the money arrived within days. Suddenly, the startup had real capital. November and December were pure grind. Everything was focused on preparing for the open beta, refining branding, finishing the dashboard front end, and stabilizing the analytics and AI backend. Workloads exceeded 120 hours per week collectively, all while maintaining full-time jobs. Hosting quickly became the largest cost risk. Through Stripe Atlas, the team qualified for $5,000 in AWS credits. That triggered a difficult but decisive move, refactoring the entire infrastructure onto AWS at the last minute. It added 2 weeks of work and delayed the launch, but eliminated hosting costs and freed up funds for marketing and customer acquisition. By mid-January, Latchkey launched its open beta. Cold calls went out. Leads started coming in. Conversations turned serious. A mid-sized software studio reached the final onboarding stage as the first beta customer. The biggest lessons from the journey were simple but hard-earned. Genuine curiosity about people and ideas opens doors. Early-stage investors invest in founders, not polished products. Building software is easier than acquiring customers, so selling and marketing matter just as much as code. Creative marketing, including building in public and sharing stories like this one, can generate early traction. Entrepreneurship is brutally difficult, mentally exhausting, and deeply rewarding. Even without guaranteed success, the pride comes from building something real, learning fast, and committing fully to the process. Whether Latchkey succeeds or fails, the journey itself already paid off.